Welcome everybody to another edition of the Focus TV. Happy to be here. Lots to talk about, man. Some sports seasons are winding down. Others are just beginning, and COVID's making their impact on all of them. Octavia, you're going to get to that in just a little bit. But again, we got Octavia Wyatt here, Cardell Dudley Jr., Raymond Lyons, Wilson Tarpey Jr. Again, we got Octavia's NFC East coming up, 9-4-50 breakdown. Quick, share some thoughts on the NBA Finals now that we know the two teams that will be facing off for it. We're going to have a WNBA update as well because, they're trying to figure out who's going to be representing, who's going to be joining Seattle in the finals, rather. Got a Pitts League recap. But, we got to start everything off with the main event. The reason, most of you guys are here is for our conversation with this week's guest, Douglas Freeman, Team Richmond Forward Caleb Kenney. Caleb, welcome to the show, and thank you for spending some time with us tonight.
No problem. Thank you for having me. Definitely a blessing to be here.
Oh, man. All right. You say that now. We'll see how you feel after all these questions. So we're going to get I'm going to start these off. Octavia, you can follow up Ray and then Cardell. And then, obviously we have any more questions after that. Sure. First thing, your name came up with Cardell a few weeks ago, talking about your production, the I95 Coalition League. I guess first off, just how integral was that, with the pandemic, having an opportunity like that to kind of just stay sharp, or an opportunity just to perform, with what's going on?
I would say it definitely was big because for the first 5 months of the pandemic, I was only able to work out, wasn't able to play against any people, no competition whatsoever. For being able to go out for 5 weekends and play against high-level guys at that high level, D1, mid-major D1, people across the spectrum, it was really beneficial for me to be able to go out there and, one, showcase my talents, but also, two, make sure that I stayed sharp with my talents and was able to play my game throughout those weekends.
All right, before I pass it on, one thing, just watching some clips, kind of into rim protecting, huh? If you will, just talk about, whether it's via the help side or just in one-on-one defensive opportunities, just you're taking, I guess it looks like apparent joy in swatting shots.
Yeah, I guess I would say I have a fun time blocking shots. I mean, I'm a guy I like defense more than offense. That may sound crazy coming from a kid my age, but I enjoy blocking shots more than scoring baskets. So if I can help my team by, one, embarrassing you and blocking your shot, and we can get out and run and score, that'll make me a lot more happy than me scoring.
All right, it might seem weird to others. It is a welcome sentiment around these parts. Go ahead, I'll take it.
Yeah, Wilson said it. As soon as you said that, I was like, my type of player, I'm a defensive person as well. But kind of piggybacking off of what Wilson asked, with this pandemic and being inside and having to work on your game virtually by yourself, do you feel like that you were able to grow during this time? And did you think that you were able to showcase that during the I95?
I definitely think I was able to grow because really all I had time to do was work out, whether it was strength and conditioning, sometimes being able to get in the gym, even if it was outside with the basketball on a blacktop court, for an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever the time limit was, it was really just me and my dad or just me by myself, just getting up a bunch of shots, working on game moves. So I definitely was able to add more layers to my game. So come the time when we're playing against these high-level guys, I felt that I was able to showcase that in my ability throughout the games.
Ray?
Yeah, just watching you play, you're like crazy athletic, man. Do you feel like that kind of overshadows some other parts of your game?
I would say so. I mean, sometimes I do get looked at as just an athletic kid, but I think through my athleticism, I try and showcase the other parts of my game, being able to make the right play because I can see over everybody, being able to rebound at a really good rate, being able to block shots, play defense. So rather than let my athleticism hinder my abilities on the court, I use it as a gateway to showcase the other parts of my game.
Cool. And also, you brought up earlier, just emphasized how much joy you get out of playing defense, even though you are a capable scorer. Just tell me where that mentality came from.
That's a good question. I mean, I would say from the time, I started playing basketball in 7th grade. And when I started watching basketball in about the 6th grade, all I would watch was big guys, because I was usually the biggest person on the team. So I would see guys blocking shots, guys like KG, people like that, just blocking shots. And I was like, well, I want to do that because since I'm the biggest person, I'm going to be in the paint. So everybody's going to come in the paint so I can block their shots. So I kind of just took that mentality with me up to now being in 12th grade. So that's kind of stuck with me.
Cool.
Cardell.
All right, Khalid, you made the Richmond Times on Metro 13 after averaging nearly 19 points per game, which is a hell of an accomplishment, especially considering the competition. Vying for those honors like, Henry Coleman, who's at Duke, Junior Efton Reed, and Roosevelt Wheeler. What did that honor mean to you?
It definitely was a big honor for me. It was something that I was striving for throughout the year, but that really just showcased my team's ability, because my team was behind me every game and we played as a team. So what you saw by me getting that award and through my stats was really just a reflection of what my team was able to do. So I kind of shared that with the team more than I shared that with myself.
Okay, no doubt. Getting an opportunity to play in the I95 Coalition event, St. James, was huge, especially, like Wilson said, on the heels of the pandemic. But what are your thoughts on how your team Richmond, fared and your improvement throughout the event individually?
As a team, I think we exceeded a lot of expectations that people had for us coming into this. A lot of people didn't expect us, a non-shoe sponsored team who was Team Richmond. We've never really heard of them, to come in here and make any noise. So for us to get to the semifinals of the championship bracket and then just improving every game as a team, taking teams like Philly Pride, Team Durant down to the wire and just showcasing our skills as a team and as individuals was definitely a big thing for us. And individually, I think just over the course of it, I got better on both ends of the floor, and even just the intangibles, my leadership, my IQ, my awareness of the court, my awareness of the game on the court. I think all of those things got better as each weekend went on and every game went on.
Sticking with the I95 Coalition League, the main thing that impressed me, obviously, outside of your, the dunks you had, it was a lot more bodies than what we're showing, but, we're going to leave it there. But the main thing that impressed me was your consistency. Your energy was the same. The way you competed was the same. You were knocking on the door of a double-double every game. Some guys had good games, and the next game they were, so-so. Just what was your mindset as far as the event, game in and game out? Because it was like you said, tough competition. It wasn't just just to play. It was the high majors guys that possibly have shots at playing, 82 games one day, and you brought it every game. Just talk about what was your mentality game in and game out in the I95 Coalition?
Really just going out and performing, playing my game. Like you said, those guys that I was matched up against, a lot of guys were going mid-major, high major, D1. They have opportunities to play after college in the pros. So I looked at them and said, well, that's a level I want to be able to get to. So I had to be able to play and showcase my skills against you. And it was really just me wanting to perform every game for myself, for my team, for everybody in attendance, just showcasing that I was able to play. A kid out of Richmond, not really known, was able to actually hoop a little bit.
For sure. You mentioned it earlier. You're a lot more than an athlete. You can't hit the open jumper. You can pass. You can rebound, block shots, defend. After the event, what were some things you was looking in the mirror and saying to yourself that I need to get better at these areas?
Definitely improving my shot, my outside shot, especially the three-point shot, and then just tightening my ball handling, because this whole experience, I was playing a lot more guard than I had been used to, and I was going against tough guards, that would pick you up 75 feet, 94 feet, and they were making you work, bringing the ball up the floor, and even in the half court, they were making you work. So just trying to tighten up my ball handling and then improving the consistency of my three-point shot were definitely two things that I said we need to make sure these are better come the next time I'm able to step on the floor.
Fun question. Who was your toughest matchup at the event?
Toughest matchup. I would say, I think his name is Abdu Sawa. He's going to Rhode Island from a DC Premier. He's about 6'8", 6'9", long, athletic, can
Yeah, I know
play
he's
on both
on.
ends of the floor. Yeah, me and him matched up the whole game. So that was definitely a tough competition for me, especially with that guy going to Rhode Island. I mean, he's a really good player. So I took it upon myself to just try and showcase my abilities on both ends of the floor.
I know numerous college programs are recruiting you and have offered. A lot of times people look at recruitment from one side, the college program side, yet, said player has to accept what that program is selling. So for all the college programs out there who are interested in you, what are some things you're looking for as an incoming student athlete after, your senior year?
Really just a strong academic place. I'm a high academic kid, have been since I can remember. I place a high emphasis on academics. So wherever I'm going, wherever I do go, I wanted to have a place where I'm going to be challenged in the classroom as much as I'm going to be challenged on the basketball floor, because I don't want to go somewhere where I'm just going to be kind of wasting my time in an academic sense. And then just a familial sense of the place, a community sense where, if I go there, everybody enjoys being there. I'm not going to be worried about when am I going to be able to get home? When is the next break? Because I'm going to be having so much fun up there, and it's going to feel like a home away from home. And then just a basketball sense, just being able to play under a coaching staff that's going to challenge me as a man, as a young man, as a basketball player day in and day out, and make me get better and push me to get better. And then being able to build with a great group of guys that's going to last 15, 20 years after we all finish at that college playing basketball, and we're just able to celebrate with each other.
That's great to hear. My last question for you, what are your expectations team-wise and individually during your senior year at Douglas Freeman? If, the season is a go, obviously things are still being sorted out due to the pandemic.
Well, team-wise, we have everybody back this year that made an impact last year, got us to the regional semis. So we're looking at state championship, regardless of if the season is only 15 games instead of 22. In the regular season, we don't care how many games it is. We don't care who we have to play. A lot of our guys are seniors, so we're definitely coming out trying to win one before we all graduate. And then individually, just improving on the success I had last year. I mean, I had a pretty good season last year, won some awards, but the job's not done yet. Got to keep building and keep improving.
All right, cool. On you, Wilson.
All right, I had a couple more questions before we let you go. First one, listening to you, some great answers you've provided this evening. One of the things just got to agree with you speaking. Talk about your athleticism and wanting to fully round out your game, kind of to max it out. How excited are you kind of looking at where the league is now, college basketball, where a lot of wings, having your size, your physical tools, where they can have such an impact playing up and down the lineups. Are you excited about that proposition?
Definitely. I mean, just me being able to showcase my versatility, whether it be 2 through 4, 1 through 4, if it's a really small ball lineup and I have to play the 5 at 6'5", 6'6", just being able to showcase that versatility on offense and defense and being able to score from all over the floor is definitely something that excites me. And I'm glad that's the way the game is going now.
All right, then my last question, just a fun one. NBA to start soon. You have a dog in the race, and you just ready to watch, hopefully, a good finals.
Definitely.
Oh, sorry, Caleb, we didn't hear you.
Say the question. My bad. Say the question one more
I was
time.
saying, no, it's all good. With the NBA finals coming up, did you have a dog in the race, or you just ready to sit in for a good finals?
Well, I'm a Boston fan, so seeing us get eliminated by Miami the other night was definitely sad to see. And as much as I don't want to go against, as much as I hate to choose the Lakers, it looks like LeBron, this is his year to get his 4th. So I'm not going to pick against him. I'm going to have to probably go with LeBron and AD getting the one for the Lakers.
All right. Well, Kel, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us tonight, man. It was a joy to have you. Hopefully you guys are able to have a very safe season in some semblance so you guys get a chance to achieve your goals. I know Cardell is going to keep us up to date with how you do. But you have a great night. Thanks again to you and your fan for making some time to join us this evening. Hope you guys enjoyed speaking with Caleb as much as we did. You're watching the Focus TV. We're going to take our first break, and we'll see you guys afterwards while Octavia tries to talk about her division, and I try not to laugh hysterically. You're watching Focus TV. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the Focus TV. Once again, just want to thank Caleb Kenney for stopping by this evening. Truly enjoyed speaking with the young man. Cardell, you said there were even more bodies in the clips that you showed us. That's both terrifying and disturbing. Oh, you're muted. We can't hear you.
I'm not muted.
Cardell, you're muted. We can't hear you. Oh, okay. My bad. What'd you say?
I'm not muted. I'm not muted. I said, yeah, I call him the body snatcher. That's what he does.
All right, Octavia, your NFC, your division, that stuff. Go ahead.
Yeah. If you didn't know already, the NFC East is trash.
I'm with
If
you.
you didn't know. I mean, we knew it, but it's kind of tough to like actually really see it, And I heard a crazy stat that they said like this is like the worst start for not NFC team, for a division through the first 3 games of the season. Like they're like 2-8-1 or something, and like the worst one was like 2-9. So it was like, and that was like back in the 1970s. So I'm like, I don't know how much worse it could get, but I'm sure it can get worse because there is a complete dumpster fire happening in the NFC East everywhere. I don't even know where to start, to be honest. The Washington football team played the Browns. They lost to the Browns 34-20. Their next game will be against the Ravens, so it doesn't get any easier for them either. Dwayne Haskins was 21 of 37, 224 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 2 carries for 2 yards, and 1 fumble. Gibson had 9 carries for 49 yards and 1 touchdown, 3 receptions for 11 yards, and 1 fumble. McLaurin had 4 receptions for 83 yards, and Dontrell Inman had 3 receptions for 38 yards and 2 touchdowns. I always try to look for the positives. I feel like they started well, but I still feel like Dwayne Haskins is still very inconsistent, and consistency is his best. This is like the thing he really needs to work on, in my opinion. Like he starts off good, and then I just feel like he makes bad decisions, and they're not small bad decisions. Like they're momentum shifting decisions that happen, and it throws them completely off. They had some injuries this week. Chase Young left the game. I95 is out indefinitely with a torn bicep or pectoral, one of those. I'm sorry, and it's just not getting no better right now. Like I said, they play the Ravens next week, and it's probably an L next week too. Especially with the Ravens coming off of a loss, I'm sure that they're gonna be out for blood. So, I mean, whenever you have 5 turnovers in a game, it's really, really hard to win. Especially with 4 of them coming because of your quarterback. Well, I won't say because, but mainly from him. It's just tough. I don't even know what else to say about him. I'll move on to my terrible team as well. The only bright spot for us is that we didn't lose. The only team that didn't lose. The only team that didn't lose this week, but we didn't win either. So the Eagles tied the Bengals 23-23. Like, you tied the team that had the number 1 pick in the draft, which usually means that they were the worst. So we tied them. I can't make this up. Carson Wentz was 29 of 47, 225 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, 9 carries for 65 yards, and 1 rushing touchdown. Miles Sanders had 18 carries, 95 yards, and 4 receptions for 12 yards. And Greg Ward had 8 receptions, 72 yards, and 1 touchdown. Again, it's the same issues. I never really like to put everything on one player because I feel like it's a team thing. But Winston's just so inaccurate. Like, it's driving me insane. Like, his decision making isn't the greatest. It's just like he's trying to do too much, in my opinion. I feel like our offensive line has held up a little bit better since, of course, the first week. But, I mean, Winston's thrown 2 interceptions in every game this season. And, I mean, like, they're bad interceptions. Like, the one where he was throwing it to Ertz, like, it was, like, to the other defender. Like, it just made no sense. Then, Dallas Goedert is going to miss some time. He has a fracture in his ankle, so he'll be out for a while. Like, the best thing about Wentz was that, you could see he didn't give up. The play at the end of the game was gutsy. I was surprised he made it. He ran for one, and so I saw a little bit of promise, but they're not on the benching Wentz train as of now. I mean, you're paying him $33 million. I'm sure they don't want to do that. But I'm almost there. I'm getting closer and closer. And it hurts, but we got to be real. I mean, it's just bad. Like, everything is just bad everywhere. The penalties are ridiculous. You get a false start on a field goal to win the dang on game. Possibly. Elliott is able to make it from 54 yards. I believe it was 54 yards before a penalty that pushed him back to 59 or 61 yards, something like that, and caused him to have to go into overtime. I mean, I'm sorry, not caused him to have to go into overtime. Caused him to punt. Like, Doug Peterson didn't even trust y'all to possibly throw a Hail Mary, and I honestly don't blame him. It's like, take the tie, it's not a loss. It's just bad. I can't even talk about it anymore. Yeah, just terrible. Cowboys play the Seahawks. The Seahawks beat the Cowboys 38-31. Seahawks next game is going to be against the Browns. And I did remiss to say this. The Eagles will play the 49ers next week, which I'm not looking forward to. I hope they flex the game off of Sunday night because nobody wants to see that on Sunday night. So I hope that they find another adequate game. They have some good choices, It's some good games. They could put Kansas City, New England, they could do something else. They should just go ahead and flex that off. But, again, Cowboys lost to the Seahawks 38-31. Your face is killing me. Prescott was 37-57, 472 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 1 fumble. Elliott had 14 carries for 34 yards and 1 touchdown. Gallup had 6 receptions, 138 yards, 1 touchdown. And Wilson had 5 receptions, 107 yards, and 2 touchdowns. When you hear all of that, you would think that they would win. Dak has been doing, to me, everything he could possibly do. I feel like, it's the same where he's probably trying to do a little bit too much. But I feel like for them to win, like, he has to be, like, all out. Like, he has to have a crazy stat line every week. And he has been, like, he's averaging over 400 passing yards, but it's not translating into wins. And that's partially because their defense is letting the other team score more points than they're scoring. Again, 38 points. And I would be remiss to say this. The Seahawks are playing amazing. They could have been up by another touchdown had it not been for DK Metcalf pulling a Deshaun Jackson. How that went. Being lackadaisical before running into the actual end zone and losing the ball. So it could have been even worse than that. The fact that Aldon Smith is probably the best player on their defense right now, and again, he hasn't played since 2015. I don't know what everybody else is doing. It's just bad there too. The injuries, of course, didn't help, and then there was a suspect play with Tristan Hill with a twist with Carson. For the Seahawks, the running back, and he has a sprained knee in regards to that. A lot of people have been saying it was a dirty play. They're not calling him a dirty player, but it was a dirty play. Yeah, it's bad. They play the Browns next week. The Browns have been looking okay. I can't imagine, in a time where the Cowboys lose to the Browns. It's kind of crazy. The Browns have their first winning record in who knows how long at 2-1, which is crazy. But last but not least, because everybody in this division is least, the Giants played the 49ers. The 49ers won 36-9. Daniel Jones was 17-32, 179 yards, 1 interception, 5 carries for 49 yards and 1 fumble. Devontae Freeman, newly signed, had 5 carries for 10 yards, and Darius Slayton had 3 receptions for 53 yards. He also had a fumble. So many fumbles this week. I'm surprised that Carson didn't fumble as well, but every quarterback this week had a fumble loss, which is crazy, besides Carson. But he had 2 interceptions. The Giants are going to be the Giants. You can't play against basically an entire second, third string team with the 49ers having so many injuries that they have, and you still get demolished. Like, they only had 1 drive that went for more than 7 plays, and none of the drives went for more than 60 yards. Like, they had penalties. Although they didn't have a lot of penalties, they came at inopportune times. The 49ers were able to capitalize on those penalties and turn those into points. They're just bad too. The whole division is just bad. It's just real bad. And it's like, I don't know what else to say. They play the Rams next week. It's gonna be bad again. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to be having the same conversation with you guys next week, where it's going to be a bunch of bad stuff happening all again.
Oh my God!
It's really I can't stress enough how bad it is. Like, even Ron Rivera came out today and said, although Haskins is still his guy as of now, like, if he doesn't start making improvements, like, he's going to be forced to start looking at other people to play, So he needs to get it together. I still think Carson needs to get it together, even though Peterson said he doesn't think he'll bench him. It's a knee-jerk reaction is what he said. But it's just bad all around the whole league. Outside of the NFC East, just to throw this out there, of course, like Wilson touched on, we have our first team that has had positive COVID testing with the Titans. So they have shut down their facility until Saturday while they are retesting. They have about 8 people. I believe they said it's either 3 players or 5 personnel or vice versa. I can't remember right this second. But they are still working towards them actually playing on Sunday. They play the Steelers. Their contingency plan is, if not Sunday, Monday. So we have our first kind of trial run to see how this works as far as positive COVID testing, possibly, throwing off a game, for somebody. Are they not going to be able to play the game? What are they going to do? Like, to kind of figure out how they're going to work around this. So I'm just interested to see how it continues and what they come up with, and if they're able to get this, started, because, they don't tell us who tested positive. So you don't know which position it is, if it's multiple people, and then they got to bring in a whole nother group. So it can be difficult, but we will have to see how this continues to go.
All right, on to more positive things after talking about that division. Jamal Hayward in the 9-4-50 breakdown this week will be showing us a breakdown of sidestep off a same foot stop. Again, it's a breakdown of a sidestep off a same foot stop. While you guys are watching that, be followed by a break, and when we get back, talk again. Look at this NBA Finals, WNBA update, Pitts League, and probably a little bit of rapid fire. See what Cardell has cooked up for us this week. See you guys in just a bit.
Stop. Snatch that ball away. Okay? Push over that right foot. Feet to the side. Feet to the side. Okay? Same thing on here. Push over the left foot. Feet to the side. Feet to the side. So again, if I do it on combo, here. Stop. Feet to the side. Okay? So while I grip hard here, stop. It's like a run. In your weight room, do a run. It's like a run here. You're gonna go this way. Come back. Step to the side. Same thing on this side. Here. Stop. Here. Now, also, over this weight down here. Stop. Snatch that ball away. Okay? Push over that right foot. Feet to the side. Feet to the side. Okay? Same thing on here. Push over the left foot. Feet to the side. Feet to the side. So again, if I do it on combo, here. Stop. Feet to the side. Okay?
All right, welcome back to the Focus TV again. Thank you, Jamal Hayward, for knocking out the 9-4-50 breakdown as consistently as he does. So we know about the NBA Finals. It is set. We got the Los Angeles Lakers taking on the Miami Heat. Miami finished off the Celtics 4-2. Bam Adebayo had 32 in the closeout game, 10 of which came in the fourth. What I'm going to ask you guys tonight is your thoughts on this finals matchup. We can start with Cardell, then Octavia, then Ray.
I mean, obviously the Lakers are the favorite. They have the two best players in the series. They have the experience factor. A lot of their role players, even though they're up there in age, they have a lot of big game experience, but also still playing at a high level. But it's closer than what a lot of people think. The Miami Heat has played well. They just don't. They're one of those rugged, teams that do a lot of things well, and they rely on the consensus of a team. Even though they have a couple players that can go off and do what they do, like Jimmy. You saw what Bam did to close out the Celtics. You saw Tyler Herro as a rookie come in and do what he do. They are very similar in a lot of ways. Like the Lakers are third in the playoffs in scoring at 113.9. The Heat are fifth at 112.2. The Lakers are third in points allowed in the playoffs at 106.5. Miami's also fifth at 107.2. The Lakers bench average 34.6 rebounds per game. Points per game. Miami bench averages 28.5 points per game. Both excel in the second chance points, tied for 13.1 points per game. Both shoot 35% from deep, but Miami has made 199 threes to the Lakers 170. Both average 25 assists a game. The Lakers lead the playoffs in blocks, obviously with that center tandem, with AD, Dwight, JaVale McGee. They're very close, man. But like I said, man, the edge you gotta go to the Lakers because they're LeBron and AD, two top 5 players in the game. And then, the big game experience that's coming in off their bench, But, as in every playoff series, it comes down to your matchups. Who will win the matchup? It's more than just Jimmy Butler, and Bam and Tyler Herro. Goran Dragic has been going off the entire playoffs. Like, no point guard has been able to contain him. You know what I mean? He's been playing at an all-star level, and that's what they needed. Duncan Robinson, we all know, is a sniper. Andre Iguodala, Jay Crowder have been hitting threes, doing what they do, defending well. They can defend numerous positions. And then it comes down to the bench. Like I said, Tyler Herro, you got Kelly Olynyk, Kendrick Nunn versus Kyle Kuzma, Rondo, Dwight, Markieff Morris, and then the coaching matchup, Spo versus Vogel. So, as I put all that out there, you kind of see how really close it is once you get past, the coach and all their hoopla. You just look at basketball facts. It's very close, and I think it's going to be a long series, unless somebody get hurt or some of the youngest on the Heat and just not ready for prime time. But with the difference with the bubble is you're not traveling and someone, I think Stan Van, I heard him on an interview say you're just shooting at the same basket. You know what I mean? Like, it's no adjustments. It's no adjustments to the arena. It's no adjustments to this court, to these fans. You've been playing in it for the last couple months, so each team knows knows the facility ins and out. And if you play basketball, you understand how important that is. So it's comfort there. And so it just comes down to the matchups and who wins their matchups. And I mean, who executes the best on both ends, man. That's who gonna win it. But you got to kind of look at the Lakers as the favorite right now.
All right, Octavia.
I mean, Cardell said it all. Of course, the Lakers are the heavy favorite, but I do think that they're kind of aligned up a lot more than people think. And Miami's been playing like dogs all playoffs. Up until this series, they had only lost 2 games this entire playoffs. And I just feel like Jimmy has always had like a chip on his shoulder, and I think that those players that play with him now like respect that. I think in his past situations, those players didn't really respect it, So I'm excited for a good series. Again, like you said, it comes down to the matchups, but I definitely think it comes down to the bench. And I really want to see if Bam is going to be able to be Bam against primetime, like top tier LeBron, AD type of matches. I think he has it in him. Obviously, from the last game, you saw what he did. But I'm just expecting a good series. Like Cardell said, outside, barring that there's no type of injuries or anything like that, or if certain Heat players or certain Laker players just aren't up for the spotlight when it comes down to it. But I definitely get with them having the Lakers as a favorite because, like you said, you have a lot of players that may be up there in age, but they have the playoff experience. They've been there. They have a lot of people on their team that have won one at least. So it's going to be a good series. I'm actually looking forward to it on Wednesday.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun, man. Like just like Cardell and Octavia said, I think the gap between these teams isn't as wide as most people would lead you to believe. That I'm most looking forward to that Bam AD matchup. That's going to be good to watch. I've enjoyed watching Bam come out this playoffs. He's just been a breakout player, especially seeing what he did in that closeout game against Boston. As far as LeBron goes, I mean, LeBron's going to be LeBron, but Miami they've got a couple bodies to throw at him. They got Jimmy, they got Jay Crowder, and Iguodala. So it's not going to be a walk in the park, but of course, containing LeBron isn't easy. But yeah, just like most matchups in the playoffs, going to come down to the little things, the others. Cardell mentioned the coaching situation, which is going to be interesting because Spoelstra's a really good coach, and he knows LeBron pretty well. So I'm interested to see how he attacks him and tries to limit him. But yeah, man, I'm just looking forward to a good competitive series. Praying everybody stays healthy. Yeah, and as Cardell mentioned, that familiarity with the court thing is huge. And I kind of wasn't surprised that a lot of players just kind of went off in the playoffs. I mean, to the degree that they did, yeah, nobody expected that. Like nobody expected Jamal Murray to go off like that. That first round matchup with him and Donovan Mitchell was crazy. But yeah, just after you've been on the same court day in and day out for a stretch of months, it just starts to feel natural to you. And yeah, man, it's gonna be a good finals. If we can get 7 games, I'd be very pleased. But yeah, man, I'm just looking forward to a great series and excited to see what happens.
All right, moving on to
real quick, I would not be surprised. Bro, just one more thing. I would not be surprised if the Heat put off an upset. It definitely has a 0-4 Pistons Laker feel, where they nobody giving them a shot in hell, and they lead with their defense and adjustments, great coaching. A lot of verse players. I would not be shocked if they pull this off. But you gotta favor the Lakers.
Yeah, I love that you brought up the 0-4 Pistons because when you were first talking about just like literally the heavy team concepts and then having different pieces where people might not value them in terms of the names, you literally describing that group So yeah, definitely looking forward to that. Moving on to the women's side, the Seattle Storm completed their sweep of the Minnesota Lynx. They await the winner of the Aces Sun. The Aces and the Sun are literally in the midst, within the second half of their winner-take-all Game 5. Angel McCautry went off in Game 4, scoring 29 points to lead the Aces. At this moment, the Connecticut Sun are leading the Aces 49-44 in the third quarter with about 7 minutes left. So should be interesting how that one turns out. I guess because it doesn't make sense to just, speculate about the finals if we don't know who's going to be there. So I guess for you guys, just my quick question. Who do you guys got taking this game tonight? Connecticut or Las Vegas? We'll start with you, Ray, then Octavia, then Cardell.
I think Connecticut is going to pull it out. They've kind of been the aggressor the entire series. Vegas, I don't know. They just look like they've been a step behind. Then them losing Hamby hurt. She didn't look like herself the entire series anyway, but now she's just not there at all. So that just detracts from their depth even more. And then I was just looking at the box score. I don't think anybody off the bench for them has scored. And Connecticut, they're a rough, rugged team. They're going to weigh you down. So you need those extra bodies to release some pressure from the starters. They got the last game because Angel finally joined the party. But, Connecticut, they just seem like the better team right now. And, they got experienced bunch as well. So I think they pulled this one out. And should they face Seattle in the finals, that'd be a great series. If Vegas turns it around and gets to the finals, that's going to be interesting to watch as well. But, with just as it stands now, I think Connecticut's going to close it out.
Octavia, who you got taking it tonight?
Basically everything how Ray said. Like, I feel like Connecticut has just been like a step ahead. Like, I feel like they want it more, and I just feel like that they're playing better. But again, like I kind of can see both sides of it. Like, I feel like it could be a toss-up. It just depends on, to me, who wants it more. It's like when you're in a Game 5, winner take all. Like, who's gonna be that person to lay it out on the line? So I think it comes down to whichever team has that drive. As they get closer to the end of this game, it's 6 minutes left now. In the third quarter, I think the fourth quarter is when it's really going to turn up. But I still think that the Sun will put it out. I think them, if they do win, and them against Seattle is going to be a really good series. And I'm actually excited to see that. But I still think if the Aces were to pull it out, that'll be a good series too. I feel like either one of these teams, whatever the WNBA finals will be, is going to be a good one. So I'm actually just ready to see what happens.
Cardell?
I'm gonna give the Sun a low edge, but Bad Jasmine has emerged tonight, and that's what I was kind of scared of. That's taking Jasmine Thomas weakening the scene throughout the season. And right now, I know the front court handling their business, the Bonner and the Lester Thomas. That's to be expected. They're making life tough for Asia Wilson up front, but Angel McCautry showing up, being the dog that she is. You know what I mean? And the backcourts, man. Right now, the Aces backcourt keeping them in the game. They outscoring 15-9. You know what I mean? And Jasmine Thomas only had 4. You know what I mean? They clamping down on her. So, I see they just cut the lead to 3. So it's kind of it's about to be real in the second. Ooh, cut it to 1 just now. So, hey, man, I don't know. Yeah, it's just Angel McCautry going on. She got 19, 6 of 9 shoot. Hey. That's why they brought her in, man. The Angel done woke up. It's those players, man. Certain players that, all right, one game, I'm good. I can handle that. You know what I mean? So, hey, man, this would be a bad loss for Connecticut, man, without Handy. And they got that. I know John Quill ain't there, but she ain't been there all year. You can't use that excuse no more. So, man, it's tough. It's that's why I love the playoffs, man.
Yeah, I was trying not to say nothing. I got it on while you guys were talking. Angel's going on a personal run. The Aces is going on a certain run.
She like, I'm going to play in the finals. He's like, I'm hungry.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm about that finals life. I'm trying to get there. I ain't been to one.
And you know how it is with veteran players, especially superstars. They pick their spots. She just picked the hell of a snap.
Urgency.
Crazy how that works.
It's
So
urgency.
we're interested to see how that plays out. And again, with this this year, none of these teams that aren't in it are going to look the same. Even the teams that are in it aren't going to look the same. You know, as Cardell always says, you got to take advantage of the situation now because you don't know what it's going to look like. Just because you have a chance right now, when everybody come back, you might be on the outside looking in for a couple of years. And then you're going to regret this. You're going to regret this opportunity. You're going to look at this opportunity like, damn, man, we were right there because, you know, when the heavy hitters come back, life gets real again. But real quick, Pitts League. Run you through what happened on the 25th. Black Lives Matter defeated Quiet Escape 61-58. Yellow Team defeated Deadstock DMV 56-41. No Sleep Sports defeated Not Me ENT 90-74. Team J defeated J&R's Mob 69-62. That was a really good game. Team J did a good job, you know, just keeping their poise to hold on in that one after fighting off a late run from J&R's Mob. Rome Reloaded defeated Soul Brothers 79-67. And Team AR defeated Nellis Realty Group 75-44. That leaves us with time for possibly a couple rapid fire questions. So I guess, Cardell, do your worst. Yes.
Everyone heard, Doc Rivers.
I had one thing. I'm sorry. Just wanted to give shout out to Ariel Atkins for making another second all defensive team in the WNBA. Meant to mention that before we left the WNBA segment. Big shout out to her, but there's other controversies going on, but that's none of my business. Leave that for another time. Go ahead, Cardell. Sorry about that.
Yeah, you can't have the defensive player of the year not be on one of the teams. That's just come on, WNBA. I know y'all trying to promote, but common sense. Y'all just putting people out there. Come on, man. Like, we got to get out this trying to reward everybody, man. It is what it is. Everybody ain't on the same level. That's just life. So deal with it. Doc Rivers, obviously, we all heard Doc Rivers has been let go by the Clippers. Reports are from Dan Wilkie, the Los Angeles Times. People with knowledge of the situation said Rivers was surprised to learn the Clippers wanted to move on. Internally, Rivers enjoyed support even after the Clippers blew a 3-1 lead to the Nuggets in the Western Conference semis. But ultimately, the sting from yet another disappointing end to a season prompted the change. Did Doc deserve to get fired? Octavia, we'll start with you.
I hate to say deserves to get fired. I understand it, just because they haven't gotten past. They haven't made it to the Western Conference Finals. You know, I mean, it's tough. And Doc's been there 7 seasons, and they've had good teams and they just weren't able to get over that hump. But I hate when that happens because to me, it's not always just on the coach. You know, it's the players a lot of the times. But the coaches are the head, and you got to start from there. I understand it. I don't think that he'll be out of a job long, honestly, because Doc is a great coach. I guess it's just about finding a fit. People are, I've been hearing possibly like Philly, stuff like that. But I understand it. I don't want to say he deserved it, but I understood why they did it. It was just kind of time to move on. And because it's obviously not working right now.
Raymond?
Yeah, this wasn't a surprise to me. You know, they kind of went all in for this year and flamed out in spectacular fashion. So, somebody had to take the hit for that. And it's easier to get rid of a coach than players, to be honest. So yeah, Doc just had to fall on that sword. But like Octavia said, he's been there for a while, and he was expected to to get over the hump with Lob City, and that didn't happen. That team kind of dissipated. Then with this group this year, the championship expectations were full force, and you know, they didn't even give us, you know, the conference finals that everybody wanted, the Battle of LA or what have you. So, yeah, man. I mean, the game is the game, you know, and yeah, you know, the players they got their fair share of responsibility in this too, but you know, I just feel like the powers that be decided it was just time to go in another direction. You know, Doc's he's already in the mix for other jobs, so you know that's good to see. But I mean, if we're going to be honest, coaches of a different complexion get a lot more leeway and a lot more chances. So, I mean, if we're going to speak about, you know, results and things like that, then what's the precedence that we're judging that on? You know, but like Wilson likes to say, that's another topic for another show. But yeah, man, it didn't surprise me. Yeah, when the news came out, I was just like, that's kind of what happens when you have a disappointing end to your season like this.
Wilson.
Yeah, you were up 3-1. There's no excuse for losing 3-1. You had a good roster. I know people were missing, and that's cool. And Ray, I do get your point. Like, there is an issue with black coaches in sports, period. If Jerry West wasn't here, I'd probably feel differently in terms of going where you're going with it. To me, this is just Jerry West as a standard. Y'all did not get the job done. I also expect some of the people not named Kawhi and Paul George to be there come next year either. Jerry West doesn't have time for this. You know, this didn't work. We're going to change some pieces out, make another run at it. And I'm just looking forward to see what Jerry West has planned now. What's his counter to this group, or what's the next move following this?
Me personally, considering everything that went down, people being in and out and all that stuff like that, I might have given him one more year, let him know you got one more year to make it out, make some things happen, or you gone. You know, I would have did that internally, let him know that, because we can't have this. But ultimately, see, this is a problem sometimes when you give the players too much power. I feel like the players let them down. I feel like they let them down. You know,
Definitely.
you know, he obviously was a former player. He gave them a lot of rope, you know what I mean, like to be players. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to put the hammer down like, say, more so like a Greg Popovich where, you know, this what it is, or Pat Riley in Miami where it's just like, I ain't even going to give y'all a chance to mess things up. If you not on par, we get you up out of here. You know, and these are the times where it kind of reminds you like, man, these players don't deserve all the power. Some players do that earn it because you know they're going to be ready, the LeBrons, the KDs, the Giannis, people like that. But if you just, you know, so all-star here and there, or people, they're pumping you to be something you're quite not at, you don't deserve that type of clout. You just don't deserve that type of, you know, say so. You don't, as Dame Dash would say, you don't deserve to be in certain types of meetings. You know what I mean? You just get it done on the court. So I feel like they let him down. You know, Kawhi deserves, like, he's leader. I feel like it was too many. We talked about this before, just too many shortcuts, man. I feel like they were looking too far ahead. They was looking at the Lakers and looking past everything else, and they ran into a buzzsaw. You know what I mean? It's just Nuggets was on one, and they got them about it, and that's what happens when you look ahead. And then at the end of the day, outside of Kawhi, he's the only one that's tasted, you know, championship glory. So why is everyone else looking ahead? You know what I mean? I just feel like, you know, they skipped so many steps, man. They came back to bite them. And in sports and life, you can't do that. Shortcuts eventually catch up to you, and it usually hurts in a certain way. Like I said, I'd have gave him another year, but I can't defend Jerry West letting him go either. It's just too many L's. You know what I mean? Too many big-time performances. And the way they imploded, all the games they lost when they were down 3-1, they were up double digits, and the Nuggets just walked them down. And then, you know, to hear, you know, PG's comments afterwards, man, it's just like, bro, like, yo, just go work on your game. So like, it's a lot like last year. It was just a bad shot with Dame. All that. It's always excuses, man. Oh, you just ain't get it done. Sometimes it's just as simple as that. We ain't get it done. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. Last question. Kind of like you know, feel good story, something that's good. Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban reached out to the family NBA player Delonte West, obviously local guy, you know, put in a lot of work. Eleanor Roosevelt, St. Joe's, played a few years in the league. He picked up Delonte West at a Dallas gas station on Monday. It's intending to help the homeless former NBA player get his life back on track. Cuban confirmed to ESPN. Sources close to West said his family and friends have been trying to help West to go to rehabilitation facilities, drug rehabilitation facilities for quite some time. He rejected, but once Cuban came in, Delonte agreed, and he's offering to pay for his treatment. It was an updated report earlier today. West has checked into a rehab facility in Florida and is doing just that. West 37 average, 9.7 points, 3.6 assists per game over 8 NBA seasons while playing for 4 franchises. One of those franchises were the Dallas Mavericks. Just what are your thoughts on Mark Cuban, coming through in the clutch for, one of our guys from the area? Start with you, Raymond.
Just happy to see him getting some help, man. That's basically the main thing here. Like, I know, especially being, in the area and he being the area guy, just as his stories unfolded, like I don't know Delonte West personally. I mean, I met him a few times, but just kind of seeing people's behavior on social media and stuff like that regarding his situation it's honestly sickening. It's been, people I've seen post the video of him in a not so good situation, laughing at it, and then 2 weeks later posting prayers up for my man Reds or what have you. That's nonsense. But I'm not even gonna get into that for real. I'm just glad his situation is in the steps to improving his situation are being taken. Big shout out to Mark Cuban, man, for going out and just going and snatching him up and getting him in a better spot. That's really what's most important. Just going to continue to pray for him and hope he comes out on the other side of this. I know his family's relieved that he's, one, off the streets, and two, getting the proper treatment. Can't imagine what it's like to, to have somebody out there like that, and you just feel like it's nothing you could do. But yeah, man, shout out to Mark Cuban. His reputation as an owner has always been, he's a guy that's for his players. So, based on everything I've heard about him, it doesn't shock me that he did something like this. So yeah, man, it's just the hoping that D West get back on his feet and and he's back to his old self at some point in the future.
Wilson.
Yeah, it was obviously that was a great showing of humanity from Mark Cuban, helping somebody in need. The other thing, I'm happy that Mark Cuban ended up being the voice that maybe Delonte needed to hear to break through, because sometimes when people are going through stuff, sometimes it just depends on the person delivering the message sometimes for it to finally get through. I guess part of the man upstairs playing was that it happened to be Cuban at this time. So I'm happy that he actually was able to check into rehab. So report that his mom's down there with him too. Wish him the best in recovery. I think these are the type of things where, people show acts of, humanity that should be shared publicly rather than, what Ray was talking about, where it's, oh, let's laugh at somebody and then 2 seconds later talk about all prayers up for him. Nah, your initial reaction was your initial reaction. So, shout out to Mark Cuban for doing so. And hopefully somebody, anybody, watching that or finding out about it, take something from it that you never know if, somebody's going through something. Your voice, if you haven't spoken up or reached out or anything like that, your voice could be the one that kind of helps sometimes trigger something for somebody. So, that's what I really took away from it.
Octavia.
I was really, really happy to hear this. From the pictures that just recently came out to the video from last year, and I think there was something that happened prior to that. Like, it's been tough to see Delonte like that. Like Ray said, I don't know him personally. I know some of his family, and one thing that Wilson said that I really wanted to harp on was that how, like, because some people were trying to kill his family, like saying how, like, oh, well, why aren't they helping him? He did all of this stuff for them. Why can't they? And like Wilson said, sometimes, certain people can't get through to you. And sometimes it's people in your family that they can love you as much as they do, and they can try to help you as much. But if he didn't want the help at that time, there's not much they can do to a 37-year-old grown man, you know. And it just happened to be that maybe somebody of Mark Cuban's stature, somebody that, you know, he may look up to in some capacity, actually talking to him was what he needed to, like Wilson said, break through for him. So although I have so much compassion for what Delonte West is going through, I just want people to have compassion for his family too, because you don't know what they're personally doing. You don't know what their struggle is with the situation as well. But I'm so happy that Mark Cuban was able to do that. Like Ray said, like he seemed like he's been that type of owner from the get-go, you know, even from when the pandemic started. He was making sure the people that worked in the arena were still getting paid. Like, you can see he's that type of stand-up guy. And for him to offer to help, you know, somebody that actually needs it was a great feel-good moment. And I really do hope Delonte gets the help that he needs, and that he's able to make a full recovery and have a good life.
My take on it is, obviously Mark Cuban's been a player owner since he came in the league. He's always been progressive and making sure, you know, the players get what they need to be the best they can be, which is what the owner's job is, man. You know what I mean? So he's always been in the front street with that, you know, just for him jumping out there, you know, and helping Delonte. But it's like with you guys have said, he has to want the help. You know, and sometimes the people closest to you are the people you tune out the most, you know, for whatever reason. You know what I mean? Because it's deep. It could just be you're embarrassed. And I just don't want y'all to see me like this. There's plenty of situations like that. And as for, you know, the people that you know, clowned them and stuff like that, we all know, you know, I say it, I can care less. You know, a lot of people in the DMV, especially in the basketball circles, are corny and they're fake. So when they benefit off you, or they're connected to you where they feel like, you know, your light is on them or something, you know, they're part of your light or whatnot, then, you know, they're in your side. It's fake support and all that. But when you struggle, now they kick you to the curb and they dog you out. I mean, I've been homeless before, and it's not always bad decision making. It's just people you have people in your family sometimes that don't have your back, or it's bad decision making. It's one of the two. And that's not something to laugh about when you look up and it's just like, it's no hope, it's nobody here. That's not something to joke about. And obviously you add on to obviously the mental health and stuff that he has been going on. Like, it's known he's bipolar. So he might not be able to be in the right mind in certain things. And then, you know, it's similar, you know, to what Octavia said. He has a family. You know, he has a wife and a child. So what do you think is happening when this kid go to school, or his wife go to work? People looking at them strange, or his mother, or if he has siblings or cousins or uncles or aunts, they're going about their lives, and people looking at them crazy. You feel what I'm saying? It's similar to the KD situation when he went to the Warriors and everybody's calling him snake and fake and everything like that. But as soon as he win a championship, you look on IG, they're posting pictures standing next to him because they got a picture of the summer league. My dog KD, you know, congrats on winning the championship. People are so fake, it's ridiculous around here. You know, you see what I'm saying? So, but it's karma for what you do. If you one of the people that clown and stuff like that, I pray for you, because it comes back. And you never know. You might be in a position where you like Delonte West and people clown you. You're going to see how I feel, and it ain't going to be funny then. And I don't think people keep that in mind when they clown the guys on, he needs help. He needed help. And out of all these people, and don't get me wrong, people try to help, like Jamel Nelson, Sr. His son plays at GW. I cover GW. I know his pops has went out the way to try to help him out. But like you said, people close to you, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you don't want them seeing you in that state. So he might have pushed them away where they couldn't even get to him. Which is why Cuban went to the mom like, what can I do? Go talk to him. And you see quickly he responded to Mark Cuban for whatever reason. So you got to take that into consideration, man. And people just need to stop being heartless out here, man, and be compassionate and understand his life. He's going through a lot of ups and downs like we all do. And be compassionate when people struggling, man. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully he bounce back and then come back and educate, because he's not the only guy coming up. There's kids in high school right now that's dealing with bipolar, but they're labeled as troublemakers or whatnot. And he can come back and educate and help those guys, especially on the basketball court and athletic realm. That alone will get him in the door where kids will listen. Simple as that, man. But I'm happy he's getting help. Hopefully come out better and stay better.
Facts. That's the most important thing to take from all of this is that one, help finally being received, and he's starting the process, and hopefully comes on the other side of it like we've all shared. As always, you know where to find us, mag.com, mymotosports.com, and please don't forget DCTV every Friday at 10 p.m. is where you can watch this show and also get over to DCTV to find out when the shows re-air. Outside of that, we'll see you guys very soon. Hope you guys enjoy the start of the NBA and WNBA finals. Follow us along on social media. We'll be talking to you guys during those, sharing our thoughts on those games as they happen. And again, shout out to Caleb Kenney for coming through tonight and speaking with us. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you guys soon.